There's no increased likelihood that she's going to sleep with the pool guy. And by the way, that same study that you just mentioned, what's interesting about it is that women who slept from between 3 to 9.
Oh my God, nobody, I've never in my life seen a person.
See, but there is a correlation between the guys that are jerks in real life do land that first date.
If you've ever had a friend ask you for advice, like, should I get with this person? First of all, don't bother, because they're always going to do it. By the time they're asking you, they're already planning to do it. So
it's over.
Yeah, fuck it. The reason why these conversations are usually so hard is because people who are like the jerks or the assholes, they never are when they're chasing. I would say I'm curious to hear this guy's experience though, because like when you get people that look like even half like of what this guy looks like and they're telling you that something is fucked up with women and you're not attracted, like there is a severe personality deficit at this point, because this guy is like easily like a top 1 or 2% attractive
1%er,
guy.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Popularized as the manosphere, define their message around anti-feminism. Women are ruining culture and society.
Well, feminism is ruining culture and society. You're kind of look smacks right now for your age group.
Like, thank you.
There's many men in the manosphere that are spreading a 100% positive message. I think we should have 100 more Andrew Tates.
Has feminism held men back, or has the manosphere distorted what masculinity means for an entire generation? I'm John Regalado, and from Jubilee Media, this is Surrounded, where one brave soul faces a room full of disagreeers. Today, we are diving into the manosphere, feminism, and what being a high-value man actually means. Our guest today is a best-selling author who's made a career out of challenging the way men think about themselves. Mark Manson, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Are you ready to debate the circle?
I think so.
All right, manosphere folks, are you ready to get into this? Woo! All right, let's get started.
Hi, I'm Mark Manson. I'm the #1 New York Times bestselling author and a former men's dating and relationship coach.
Wow.
And today, I'm surrounded by the manosphere. My first surrounded claim is that the manosphere is a billion-dollar business that profits off keeping men angry and insecure.
If you'd like to debate this claim, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, it's good to meet you.
What's up, man?
Jake.
Nice to meet you.
So I think it's important to ask first, what do you mean by the manosphere?
I would say it is the subculture of men's dating and life advice that is particularly identifiable by its sexist and traditional beliefs.
Damn.
I mean, feels a little bit no true Scotsman-y. If you define the category as being sexist, then from the category moving out from there, we're gonna have a problem. Because I'm not a sexist. And so if you want to say that, like, if you're in the manosphere, that means you're sexist, or no true member of the manosphere isn't sexist, like, that's not a productive.
So how do you define it?
I think the manosphere are people who focus heavily on men's issues and are trying to instruct men on how to lead better lives, who are trying to fulfill a role that maybe a father should have or maybe can't because of a variety of societal environments. And they might do that well, they might do that poorly. And I think the discussion is about how well the sort of figures that are gaining popularity are doing that.
Right.
And maybe some of them might be sexist and some of them might be telling true things, and there's kind of a variety of mixed bags on this. But before I move on, does that seem like a reasonable starting point for what the manosphere is?
That would be a broader definition than I would give to it.
Well, you defined it as sexist, and so obviously it's much broader. Like,
Yes.
I'm not even in your definition, so that's not.
And I am in your definition.
Right.
So I would say what has become popularized as the manosphere, and maybe my reading is off on this, but it's stuff like the Tate brothers, Myron Gaines, Harrison Sullivan, all the guys featured in the recent documentary that came out, like that kind of brand and flavor of men's advice. And I'll say this too. So back when I was in this industry, and I was giving men advice professionally, there was a pretty clear delineation between the guys who were just genuinely like, hey, let me help you try to get a date. Like, let me help you try to make
out there.
Yeah, like help you get a raise at work, right?
Yeah,
and
Go
there
to
was
the
a whole
gym, get stronger,
there was a
be more
whole
confident.
subculture of men who really very much define their message around anti-feminism. Women are ruining culture and society.
Well, feminism is ruining culture and society. That doesn't mean all women are, but it does mean feminism is. And I think it's an issue to conflate the idea of like, oh, women, like women, versus the philosophy of feminism. Because you could have male feminists who I think are often more destructive for culture than female feminists are.
Right.
And you could have women who are not feminists. And so on both ends, I think that's a conflation not to make.
Okay. So my claim specifically is about the men in this space who their primary message towards men is that of anger, that of selfishness, empowerment through intimidation and domination of others.
I think there's a lot of different things there. I think there are a lot of things that you should be angry about. But that doesn't mean that you should be a victim. And I think that just because a certain society has decided that the future is female, has decided to instruct men from a very young age, has removed fathers from the home, has used various incentive programs to encourage single motherhood rates, has made it such that boys are told from age 7 that the fundamental way to view history is a patriarchy, and because other men used to be bad, which I think is even debatable a claim on its own, that you therefore are bad as well. And I think that there's a lot of things that you should be angry about. And
Every guy who says, I'm not sexist, by the way. King.
if you have a young boy who's going through that, if you have gone through that, these are things you should be angry about. That doesn't mean you should be selfish.
Right.
Same thing, idea of like, you shouldn't intimidate and you shouldn't lead with force. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't be a dominating figure. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't lead with a positive, masculine leadership of what that is. It is a dominant. And if you have a young boy who's going through that, if you have gone through that, these are things you should be angry about. That doesn't mean you should be selfish.
Right.
Same thing, idea of like, you shouldn't intimidate and you shouldn't lead with force. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't be a dominating figure. And I think the good manosphere figures, I mean, you named a couple of them, whether they're good or bad, I don't want to mention the personal lives of those people, but the message of like, shut up, go to the gym. I'm sorry your life is hard. And you should be angry about that and you should fight back, but you need to channel that into, talking to that pretty girl anyway and being strong anyway.
Wow. I want to make 2 points. One is that I think you've just done the same thing with feminism that you accuse me of doing with the manosphere, right? Which is taking some of the most extreme claims and then classifying the entire school of thought based on those extreme claims. We can get into the nuts and bolts
Well, I'm
of that,
taking what's taught in elementary schools.
which is some extreme stuff. And
The extreme manosphere stuff isn't taught in elementary schools.
understand
The future is female. You see people wearing that in their elementary schools.
I understand.
Can we agree that's an extreme position?
I do agree with that.
Okay.
So like I would agree with you on that probably shouldn't be in an elementary school.
Yeah.
Funded
by the state.
Yes. The second point.
state.
There's the advice and then there's the packaging, right?
Yes.
What you just said, right? Get your life together. Go to the gym. Take care of yourself. Like work
Amen.
on
Yes,
yourself.
sir.
Right? Like these are all great things. My point would be that you can get that advice in 100 other different places without the toxic packaging.
But that doesn't go
attached to it.
viral. People don't see it. The media
Totally.
suppresses it. The environment, if you want to get the message out, you have to go extreme. And I wish we didn't have that. And if we want to talk about how we should restructure the systems of YouTube and everything, that would be great. And I think we're trying to do that now. We're trying to get this out.
Do you have to go extreme? I mean, like, so I'll give an example of somebody who I do think is a healthy figure in this space, which is Chris Williamson. He's like the 8th biggest podcast in the world right now. Like, he's not extreme. He's not saying all the same shit that like Andrew Tate is saying or Myron Gaines is saying, right? It's like, I have an audience of over 10 million people. I'm not saying any of this shit. I don't think you have to be extreme to get it. And I worry that there's some good messages are being attached to so many poison pills that a lot of young men don't know how to differentiate between the good advice and the toxic advice, that it's leading them down a bad path.
There certainly is some toxic advice out there, but the idea that that's the primary thing that people are learning from these, I don't think that's true. If you're gone down the rabbit hole and you're watching 6 hours of Myron Gaines and 4 hours of Andrew Tate and you're watching collab streams all the time, these people, that's not the majority of people who are involved in the manosphere.
Totally.
That's not what's happening. The things that you're getting from these people are saying, maybe you should put more interest into your look. It's not everything, but obviously your look matters, and maybe you should go to the gym. It's not everything, but obviously the gym matters. All of these messages may be packaged with a more extreme idea to it.
Sure.
But the extremeness is how you go viral. And someone like Chris Williamson and someone like yourself, these are great
Was that a
people.
woman in
But
the
you guys
manosphere?
aren't being the number one talked about person on the internet. You guys aren't changing the fundamental way that people view our culture. And I wish you could. But
Right.
the internet isn't set up for that.
We're also not doing it because I don't think it helps. So, for example, a Movember survey from 2025 found that young men who regularly consume manosphere content or masculinity influencers were much more likely to report feelings of worthlessness, extreme sadness, and extreme anxiety.
That's backwards causation. It's the people who are feeling extreme worthlessness are looking for someone to teach them what to do.
There you go.
You don't see that same correlation show up in other self-help genres, though.
Well, that's self-help genres don't help almost always. They're almost always feel-good nonsense. If you're told you're good the way you are, you can do whatever you need, you're a magic special person, that's the kind of thing that someone who is looking for that kind of experience.
Right.
The person who is feeling bad needs someone to tell them, yeah, you are feeling bad, and you need to grow up and you need to get strong. And so the
The
correlation
Matrix is
just
holding you
backwards.
down, and it's
Well,
not,
it is. We just agreed that elementary schools are trying to oppress men at the age of 7.
Is that the Matrix?
The state funded by the state. Of course, it's the Matrix.
I've said this before, but like just as a heads up, there's a weird thing where there's content that's seen as being like critically challenging, and it's like self-help content, but it like actually challenges you because of the language that it uses. I don't know what you would describe this as in psychology, but it's not. Like if you're engaged in some kind of like self-help thing and you always come away feeling like super motivated and empowered and like you're the king of the world or whatever, this is a circle jerk. This is not like a critical self-help thing. Like some level of self-improvement type stuff should feel like a little bit psychologically arduous. Like it should be like a challenging thing to do. When you say things like, you need to go out and work out and conquer the world and blah, 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 it might seem like, oh yeah, he's like really challenging me, but it's not. You don't feel challenged. You feel like it's like a male power fantasy. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. I need to, yeah, true. Let's go. Like that's, and then when you layer on top of that, this weird external system of blame that used to be exclusive to like the wokies. It's systemic racism, it's systemic misogyny, sexism, and everything is holding me down. Well, for these guys, it's the Matrix, it's all of the Jews, and it's all in schools are teaching this thing. It's like you've removed the locus of control is now outside of you onto the Matrix, and the only thing they appeal to at the end of the day are these power fantasies where you pursue the things that you want to pursue that make you feel amazing and powerful and strong, and it's like, I don't know, it's,
Is this a federal policy to tell 7-year-olds that the future is a woman?
It's in every elementary school. We just agreed on that.
I did not agree it's in every elementary school.
Not every single one,
I agree it's
but-
in some, and it's probably the doing of certain far left teachers and educators.
Which begins in the far left universities, which are funded by the
Is the
state
future
and are
is female
structured
even
from
like
the
a
top down.
bad fucking saying?
I feel like we probably needed to work on some of our shit. When you talk about like Black Lives Matter or future is female type stuff, I think that the connotation is that in the past, these things weren't paid attention to as much. I mean, in an extreme example, like women couldn't vote. And then in other examples, there's obviously just disproportionate expectations on who should do what. And some people can feel like this is a system that holds people down, blah, blah, blah. So I think it was fine at some point to bring awareness to that. But as soon as people start using these things to like attack groups of people, like all men are rapists and all men suck and blah, 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 the basic shit that I say, hell yeah. When you start to get into that, especially in school environments or whatever, however much it happens, even if it's not that much, it starts to feel kind of weird and probably needs to be abandoned or needed to be abandoned a little bit earlier because it just becomes like
In
another...
school environments, but is this actually happening right now? Like, are teachers basically saying like, oh yeah, all men are rapists, like you need to be worried, blah 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 blah?
No,
blah?
probably not. It's probably just like kind of like still, my guess would be still like tilted like in a pro-woman direction, which if you're only hearing that exclusively all the time, some people might feel like, so do men suck or whatever, because of the absence, the vacuum of your statements basically, yeah.
I mean, I can understand that, I guess. But I think if you walk away with like, oh, the future's female, there's like no space for me, it's over. I think that there's a lot more issues there than just the slogan.
Well, maybe. The issue is that, like, if that's all you hear constantly, and if we talk about men as, like, the evil rape monger, the horrible white man, and the terrible colonialization, and all these horrible... If you hear this constantly, and then you're combining that also with messages of whatever, like, the future is female and women, blah, 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 it becomes pretty easy to understand why some people might feel miffed by that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think men are in a pretty bad spot going forward. Like, women are graduating college at a higher rate than men, I think, now. So I guess I can empathize around like people who have manosphere problems. I just don't think that the manosphere or the Tates are the solution.
No, I mean, they're not. No, I'm gonna agree with that.
Yeah, but I also don't think that I don't know. The future's female. If somebody's wearing a shirt at school, I don't think that should be like disallowed. But if the teachers are combining that with like, oh yeah, like men are really bad, blah, blah, then I would see a problem, sure.
To oppress. So the structure isn't natural.
To bring it back to my point, which is that you just made the point that a lot of self-help advice is bullshit.
Oh, almost all of it.
Garbage, right? Let's take like The Secret, right? Law of attraction stuff. Do you agree that that's kind of ridiculous? Because I do.
Law of attraction, I'm not sure exactly how that works.
It's like if you just believe that you deserve something, the universe will give it to you.
Oh yeah, that's nonsense.
Okay.
But it is the case that you can fake it till you make it, and if you act as though you have it, you might be more likely to get it.
Perfect. So we agree on that. So that's a perfect example of what's actually like kind of a good piece of advice, but then it's packaged in this ridiculous cosmological, like, oh, the universe's energy is going to serve you what you deserve and all this shit, right?
It's almost the health and wealth gospel, which is a violation of the Christian heresy, basically.
But that gets millions of people to start focusing more on their goals and dreams. So my argument is that the manosphere is doing the same thing. It has all of this ideology around the matrix and the system is oppressing you and you should be angry and all this.
Well, you should be.
So get up and clean your room and go to the gym.
Yes.
So it's good advice packaged in this like
But the package that you just said that you should be angry is the correct package.
All right, I'm angry. Pause there. You've been voted out by the majority.
Got him.
It's great talking to you.
I think we agree on more things than nation.
We might. Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's your view on men right now, like in 2026? Do you believe that the current situation for young men is approximately the same as, 15, 20 years ago? Or
No, it's much worse.
Okay, why would you say that it's worse?
Things have gotten really rough for young men, and I think it is fundamentally structural and economic. It has to do with the technology. It has to do with the nature of the economies changing. And the reason I believe this, and I don't buy it's feminism's fault, is because when you look globally, you look at countries that have not had a large feminist impact, the young men are struggling just as much there, if not more. And if you look at some of the countries that are even more progressive and more feminist than the United States, the men are doing better there than they are doing here. So I don't think it's feminism. I think it's happening at a much more fundamental level than culture.
Yeah, I hear that. And honestly, I agree with you that a lot of these manosphere characters, they use the anti-feminist and anti-woman thing as it is a packaging, and it does obviously go viral.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting to me is that we have this conversation of, does the cart come before the horse? Is the manosphere causing men to be angry at women, and that's causing more incel behavior? Or is the society becoming more difficult for men to navigate and creating more incels that are already frustrated, and then they see this content on YouTube saying, you should be doing this and that, and this is really what women think, and that resonates. So what would you say? You're saying that it's...
I would say it's both.
It's both.
I personally believe that the manosphere is the wrong answer to a very legitimate problem, right? The legitimate problem is that young men and boys are struggling. They have fewer role models.
They're not having sex, right?
Right, and they have fewer role models. They have fewer people to look up to. They're getting advice from fewer places. The manosphere is filling that vacuum, but I believe that it's filling it with a lot of toxic information. There's a whole subreddit called X Red Pill, and if you go through there and read all those guys' stories, like it's
extreme.
Yeah, it's ugly.
So why do you think, genuinely, like, what is you said that there's some systematic change that's happening across, you said globally. So like, what do you think that is?
My guess is that it's a combination of moving to a more globalized services economy, right? If you actually look at the psychological differences between men and women, right? It's like women tend to be a little bit more pro-social. They tend to be a little bit better at building and connecting and managing relationships. We're in an economy where that is more valuable than ever before, right? If you look at male psychology, right? Men are, I think, 4 times more likely to have ADHD. Men tend to lose interest in things. They have lots of anti-energy. We have so many devices, so many screens bombarding us with distractions all the time. It wouldn't surprise me if young men are more susceptible to that sort of distraction and that dopamine treadmill than young women.
So would
We got to pause there. You've been voted out.
Okay.
It's just getting good.
Yeah.
That was quick.
Whoa,
Hi. Sorry.
you really went for it.
So what do you think is extreme? Like, what are some of the extreme views?
I would say anything that is intentionally demeaning the fundamental value of a woman.
Could you give me an example?
Well, the body count example.
But can you understand how there is a correlation between being willing to take a lot of dick from a lot of different people and not thinking highly of yourself?
Perhaps, I don't know.
So I don't think that you're lowering the quality of a woman by saying like, hey, just so you know, it's probably not the best thing for you to.
But that could be true for men as well.
Men should not be taking dick from a lot of strangers. I agree. I agree. Both genders.
It's true for straight men as well, taking lots of vagina as well. It's generally low self-esteem correlates very strongly with sexual partners overall.
Totally agree.
Yes,
I think it's
but
worse.
that doesn't make them worse people. The same way, like somebody with low self-esteem is more
not
likely
gonna agree
to
with that.
use alcohol or drugs. Totally. Doesn't make them a bad person.
But it's not good,
as
and
bad.
also taking dick is a little bit worse than giving it.
Why?
All right, we got to pause there. You've been voted out. Reminder, we want to stay focused on the prompt.
What are we doing with the
current
circle,
prompt.
man?
Hi.
What's up, man?
Nice to meet you.
How you doing?
What's your name?
Mark.
Mark, my name's Mauro.
Nice to meet you.
God bless you. Are you familiar with the red pill, blue pill philosophy?
Yes. My understanding of it is that the blue pill is basically what society has taught you. You know, do what the man tells you, follow the typical 9-to-5 job.
The woman,
and the
you
red
mean.
pill is when you wake up and realize that nothing is as it seems, that society's been duping you, and that it's our responsibility as men to, you know, take control of our lives and go back to the way nature intended it. How'd I do?
You did actually pretty great.
Okay.
Do you believe in that?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Not even a little bit?
Look, I believe
Until
like
you
society's
ask.
not perfect.
Right.
Society's definitely like fucked up.
Okay, yeah. That's true.
But I don't think
flags
there's any
up.
sort of like conspiracy thing going on. As a man, yes, you have to take control of your life. You have to build value for yourself. You have to do something with yourself, right? Like it's
believe that.
100% agree with that.
150%.
Yeah, it's what I disagree with is all of the packaging and the philosophy.
No, right on.
of it.
Actually, I actually agree with that. I think actually like the supposed like manosphere whole ideology actually has been actually hijacked. You know what I mean? With these people like Andrew Tate or Nick Fuentes. You know what I mean? Like I don't think they're the epitome of masculinity.
Yeah.
And I don't think that really represents what a man actually is. You know,
Fuck yeah, dude. Preach.
I mean, I do believe with some of their ideologies, but not entirely. You know what I mean? Like, do I think, you know, men and women are equal? No. Do I believe that they're complementary? Yes, absolutely, for sure. But I just want to tell you also, like, you know, like part of the manosphere right philosophy is the red pill, blue pill, and I actually do 50% believe in that. And I do believe in the Matrix. You know what I mean? You're stuck in this rat race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you don't want to be part of that. And then I've been actually like a quote unquote like red pill. I really take that philosophy to heart.
You know, the thing about the red pill, blue pill, right? Like you could look at that as just taking responsibility for your own life.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
And that's an idea that's thousands of years old.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the analogy of the cave.
Yeah.
You have these men stuck at the bottom of a pit of a cave.
Yeah.
Just watching pure shadows.
Yeah.
And that's to me almost the same as like you're watching the news, you're watching TV.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree like the news isn't 100% truthful. And then once you wake up to this illusion, you leave the cave. You leave the cave of deception, and you wake up to actually how the world truly
philosopher.
works. And the world definitely works against us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This dominion is not of the Lord. This earth, actually, the devil controls it. And he's the one actually. I definitely
All right,
do
now
believe.
you lost.
God.
I know. It's okay.
We were doing really well.
It's okay. I mean, that's just my
I know,
opinion.
I know.
And
I
then you
respect it, I
mentioned law
respect
of
it.
attraction. I actually believe in that.
Yeah.
I believe in law of attraction and I believe in manifestation. And I'll just say like I have a manifestation example.
Okay.
I was thinking of penny loafers. I was obsessing about them. And I'm not even kidding you. I had a
Put your
dream
flags
of
up.
penny loafers.
This guy 100% tracked him. Oh, this is the guy, Mooten, by the way. Okay, stop.
True.
This guy 100% tracked him down afterwards to talk to him.
Like, and then I went to my local store and I went to the shoe section and I saw some leather shoes for $20 and like my dream told me that. And that's why I'm here. And then like I don't know, I just thought that was like an example of a manifestation, law of attraction in action.
I love it, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for talking to me.
All right, pause there. Did you say penny loafers?
Yes.
Can we get there's some
manifested
killer
penny
penny loafers in the circle if we can get close-ups
I
of
like
those.
his style. How's it going, Dave?
What's up, man?
Good to
All
meet
right.
you. So when you say billion-dollar industry, can you give me some examples where they're making money from?
Tate's Hustler University, I think at one point he was bragging that it was making 12, 15 million a month. Sports betting, gambling sites are sponsoring a lot of these guys. They're driving like millions of dollars of revenue to them. OnlyFans, like a lot of them manage OnlyFans, so like they'll tell you how like the Matrix is holding you down and how women are, you know, these women are disgusting, and then they will like turn around and promote the OnlyFans girls that they manage to. So it's
Damn.
Would you say like online dating courses as well?
online dating courses.
Yeah, like dating courses and anything like online to give you like advice to pick up girls. Is that
Well,
in the manosphere as well?
It depends. I mean, this gets back into like how do you define the manosphere?
Yeah. Well, you kind of defined. You said OnlyFans. You said sports betting. So now you're
Sure.
just encompassing a bunch of different things that probably has nothing to do
There's
with
a
actual
lot of
manosphere
different forms
itself.
of monetization.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of different forms. And again, there's like the manosphere. I think at this point we've probably established there's a spectrum. My issues is primarily with the extreme end.
Okay.
Right.
So extreme is OnlyFans, which I agree on is bad.
Yep.
Gambling, which I agree on is bad.
Okay.
So what else is the
Jesus.
extreme that's it's making too much money where you feel like that's a harmful
well,
to society?
I mean, Tate's course largely just taught people how to promote Tate's course and take 50% of the revenue. So I mean, it's by definition a pyramid scheme and an MLM.
So you like went into the course like you know the courses that are available there?
No, this is just public information.
Okay. So then what specific courses in there is harmful?
Uh-oh.
You seem to know a lot about if it's making $1 billion.
Ooh.
I've not taken the course.
Okay. So you're kind of just assuming, you're just guessing, right?
I mean, this is just based on things that I've read.
So if someone's taking a course and they're learning just stock trading or trading cryptocurrency or like online marketing, is that bad that they're in that course?
Depends on what this course is teaching them.
Okay. Is it more you just don't like the person that's giving the course?
Well,
you don't
that's-
like their
that is-
ideology, but
that-
if they're
that is-
giving something that's critical for
that
men
is
to
true.
learn and make money, you just don't like the vessel it's coming from.
That is
So if
also
it was coming
true.
from you, you'd probably be like, okay, well, you're biased towards yourself. You like the information you give.
Well,
You
I
can teach
wouldn't
the
make
same
a course
stuff and be
on
good.
trading shitcoins. Like it's both. It's both the content that's being sold and the personality selling
Yeah.
it.
Well,
I-
you'd say
I
that
take
people
issue
have
with it.
self-agency, right? They could decide if they want to take
Sure.
the course. They could decide what information is good from this person, what information is bad from this person, right?
Sure.
You bring up all these like Myron Gaines, Andrew Tate. They probably say, I would say 90% of it's good, 10% is bad, and you don't have to take all 100%. Everyone has self-agency, so if you can't decipher what's good and bad from someone, not to be rude, but you're unfortunately you're just low IQ because you just take simple stuff that's just good. Like, oh, I'm going to apply.
Okay, then don't complain about feminism or anything in society or the Matrix at all. Just don't listen to it.
apply this to my life. Oh, that's kind of extreme. I don't like that. I'm not going to apply that to my life. And then at the main core of all these teachings is self-accountability. So you're in control of your life completely. So if you're letting some online influencer dictate and your life goes down a negative pathway, that's your own doing. You're just trying to find something to blame on because you're not taking accountability for your life.
Right, but it's if they're promoting self-accountability while actively promoting things like sports betting, crypto, gambling to people, young men
that's
who
a
are
little
very
weird, I
vulnerable.
think.
They're naive, they're inexperienced. In a lot of cases, these are like 14, 15, 16-year-olds, right? Like, you don't have to be low IQ to be a 15-year-old who doesn't know a f***ing thing about stock trading, right? So it is, I understand that people have to take accountability for their own decisions, but I don't think that necessarily absolves some of the purveyors of these courses and this monetization of the responsibility of not taking advantage of their audiences.
All right, pause there. We're out of time.
Got it. Cool. Thank you.
Real quick, I want to do a quick poll. Raise your flag if you think Andrew Tate is a good influence. Raise it high so we can count.
Net positive.
No, up, down. Raise your flag if you think clavicular is a positive influence. I'm not sure that is. It's okay. Then don't raise it. Raise your flag if you think Nick Fuentes is a positive influence. All right, thank you. It's just the poll I wanted to do.
Curiosity. My next surrounded claim is that a woman's body count doesn't matter.
Oh boy. Uh-oh.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
A woman.
Okay, so personally, I do feel like a woman's body count does matter.
Why is that?
Ask her body
100%.
count.
She's going to have a high body count. She's going to say, but I've come back and I've learned how horrible it is. 100%.
She's
because
redeemed.
it's her value. I feel like if something's used, there's no value to it. It's just, I don't want to like be mean, but it's dirty.
Do you believe that
Jesus.
women have value outside of their body and their sexuality?
Of course. Yeah, of course. A woman can be smart and still sleep with a bunch of men, but why not be the whole package? Respect your body. It's your temple. It's a part of who you are, so respect it.
Well, that's interesting, actually. Why do you think it's disrespectful for a woman to sleep with multiple men?
Because you're allowing different energies onto you. You're
Sorry.
What if they're in committed, loving relationships? What if it's been like a long series of 2-3 year relationships over 10, 15 years?
Red
then you
flag.
wouldn't
Do
be
they
dating a
just
bunch
think
of
it's
people. You
penis and
wouldn't be sleeping with a bunch
vagina,
of
or
people
can
if
you like give blowjobs and shit?
Blowjobs are iffy, but penis and vagina is definitely bad. Socially, people don't grapple with this directly, but we tend to view penetrative sex as being an irredeemably damaging thing that women are kind of expected to deal with. Yeah.
What do you mean by damaging?
As in, you're permanently, irrevocably damaged if you have had a dick in you, and the more dick, the worse, and you can never come back from it, or it's just a thing.
Are
that
you saying society or just red pillars?
society?
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever heard people be like, oh yeah, I don't know. I don't.
They
really
don't
talk
say
about sex with many people, I
nobody
guess.
says it, but there's
It's
there's
just like a feel.
It's a underlying feeling that
Okay,
is just
I
very
could
pervasive in a lot of ways.
understand
Yeah.
that.
This is why it's hard to take the claim seriously that like female to male statutory rape or whatever is the same as like male to female statutory rape. The feeling is just a lot different. Like, well, should it matter if a 30-year-old teacher has sex with a 14-year-old girl versus a 30-year-old teacher and a 14-year-old boy? The reality is one of the reasons why the act is more traumatic is because for women, there's just so much more baggage and horrible stuff that is like attached to sexual things, whereas for men, it's like, bruh, you got to fuck your teacher or whatever. I think the vocabulary we use is like betrays it a little bit. Did she give it up? Did you get fucked? Did you fuck them? The vocabulary
that makes
a little
sense.
bit, yeah. There's also another kind of a weirder thing culturally. When you look at like stories in media, there's a trope kind of like a woman gets like raped, but then that's like part of her like story of like coming up and whatever, because women are just expected to deal with it. Is very, very, very rare to almost non-existent that you ever see like a male rape story, unless it's like about the whole thing. So like you might watch like Mission Impossible or some action movie where the man can be tortured in like a million different ways, but it'll never be through getting raped ever. It's like impossible to even think of that because most people would see that character as being irrevocably harmed and changed, and they wouldn't even be able to identify or want to anymore with it.
I feel like this happens sometimes for males characters when they go to jail. So like American History X, it happens, and Shawshank Redemption. But besides that, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's super rare, and even the jail one that's not generally the case. Usually, the guy is like House or whatever, like they're making deals or they're smart enough to avoid all the prison rape, or they're big and bad enough to like fight it off or whatever. Like it's very, very, very rare. Yeah, that happens. Yeah.
commit it. So
But you would have a high body count, right?
to me, I feel like a high body count is realistically maybe over 4 or 5. So
They did that to James Bond in Casino
Jesus.
Royale, and I believe, and it was controversial. Nope, they absolutely did not. They beat the shit out of his balls, but he wasn't raped. And even in that situation, he still had agency over what was going on, right? The whole thing of like, you've scratched my nuts now, ha 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 ha.
so
Would
when
this
I think
lady
high body
think
count,
that
I'm
a man's body count hurts him?
Oh no, they would never say that because of the thing I just said. They would never say that. Yeah.
Does it then like it not hurt but help, or does it just not matter?
Some people will say it's a pro. Other people will say it's like a slight con, maybe, but not that much. And then other people say it's like neutral, I guess. Just depends on how far where they're at. Yeah.
be dating a bunch of people. You wouldn't be sleeping with a bunch of people if you're committed. So
But you would have a high body count, right?
to me, I feel like a high body count is realistically, maybe over 4 or 5. So when I think high body count, I'm thinking you're sleeping around, you're having one night stands. I respect it. You know, that's where agree to disagree comes into play.
Sure.
But me personally, it's self-control. Be mentally strong enough to say no. Be mentally strong enough to stick to one person. Yeah.
That's a totally valid preference. My argument is that a body count it's just one piece of data, and I think it's a pretty arbitrary piece of data because people change. They have complicated life stories. Maybe you're a party girl in your 20s and then you settle down and get serious, in your late 20s. Maybe you've gone through a bunch of shit, had a hard upbringing. So it's you have to address the individual in front of you, not just the number. Do you disagree with that?
That's a good opinion, but I stand firm on mine. Nobody should also have a piece of you. I wouldn't want somebody to hear, yeah, I had your girl. Yeah, I got,
We got to pause there. You've been voted out by the majority.
Okay.
Return to your seat.
Thank you.
Is him saying people change kind of like negatively loading body count there?
I mean, a little bit, but the thing is that people use body count sometimes. I mean, like sometimes realistically to proxy like bad behavior or proxy, I don't know what you call it, slutty behavior, sleeping around or whatever. And so the idea of people can change is like, well, you could like sleep around a bit in college or whatever, but then be ready to like settle down for a real relationship is, I'm assuming, is what he means there. Because some people say that the bad thing about body count being high is that the girl's always going to cheat on you or fuck off and date some other guy or compare you to some other dude or whatever. People use it as a proxy for promiscuity, basically.
How you doing?
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Great to meet you. I'm Michael. So when you say a woman's body count doesn't matter, I just wanted to ask if there are any conditions or qualifiers to that, or do you literally mean it doesn't matter? Whether if she's a virgin or if she slept with 197 people just last month, it's totally irrelevant to everything. You shouldn't take it into consideration at all.
I mean, obviously, some people are going to have certain value, like if you're religious, for instance, or if you have like certain social beliefs. My point around this specifically, if I'm going to clarify the claim, is that it matters if you're a single man and you're meeting a woman, on the list of things that you should be concerned about, that you should be worried about, it is so low on that list that you shouldn't even think about it. You should be primarily concerned is she trustworthy? Do you communicate well? Is she fun to be around? Do you have shared values? Do you see yourselves going long-term together? What she's done in the past is a very, very tiny factor in all of those things.
Yeah, so I think that that's interesting, but I would say that I think that there's a lot of evidence to suggest that body count and sleeping around and having a lot of sexual partners and experiences actually directly relates to a lot of those traits that you mentioned. So I'm specifically thinking about a study or meta-analysis from the University of Utah, which found that the more sort of sexual history that you have, the more body counts that you have, the higher the predictability of divorces. So I think that the specific study that I'm referencing, if the woman slept with, let's say, over 10 women, is what I think it was. That cohort had by far the highest divorce rate or predictability of divorce. And I think that's pretty intuitive, right? Like
Just as a quick thing, none of the men that bring this up ever believe this. They never, ever believe this. And the reason why is because if you look at those studies, the way that it works is 0, I think, is the highest, like prior partners. And then 1, it gets worse. 2, it gets worse. And then I think 3, it gets worse. And then 4, it gets like better. 5, it gets better, or like it increases in terms of the chances of you ending on divorce or whatever, such that if you're going to read that graph as like a prescription of like, okay, well, avoid women that have 10 bodies because at 10 plus, the odds are looking really bad. The same person would say, avoid a woman with, I would need to look at that. Somebody can link the graph in chat. These people talk about this so much. It would be like, avoid a woman with like 3 bodies, and you should aim for a woman with like 5 or 6 bodies because it does like a little U curve where at 3 or 4, I think it like peaks and then it goes down a little bit and then it goes up again at the end. So you should aim for a woman over like 5 or 6 or 7 bodies instead of one with like 3 or 4 or whatever. But like they never, ever give this caveat or ever say this shit. And I'm pretty sure higher body count impacts men as well for divorce rates, although not quite as significantly. But
I had a wife and you had a wife, and my wife slept with 3 women and your wife slept with 40 women, and we're hanging out, and let's say the pool guy comes over and he's going to open up our pool. Whose wife do you think has a higher likelihood when the pool guy's 18-pack is out? Whose wife do you think has the higher likelihood of sleeping with the pool guy? It's a little bit obvious, right? That the answer is the woman with 40 plus bodies, and I think that makes sense, right? They have
also another thing for a lot of these people are virgins or lack experience. I truly do believe this about. Now, I think the red pillars also dramatically exaggerate their sexual experience as well. A woman with 40 plus bodies, that is an exceptionally slutty person. Same thing with a man with 40 plus partner. These are you're talking about the upper echelons. When you get past like 15 or 20, you're at like top 1% of like body count. If you're having sex with you, like the average lifetime body count is between like, I think it's between like 7 and 9.
6 and 7?
For men and women. 7 and 9, fucking loser. When you're talking about people with 20, 30 plus, that you're on exceptionally outlier levels, in which case you could be right that like this person might have like a significantly less chance of being loyal or whatever, but they're probably gonna have a lot of other significantly outlier behaviors as well.
But we're also talking about like the 0.001% of people.
Yeah, so they like, even because people will use this as an example so much, and it's just not that common that you're gonna run into somebody with a 40 plus body count. That's insane.
In a debate, would you just like eat this and be like, yeah, like the 40 plus person would probably be more likely to have sex, but also this person has, you know, like a super high body count in proportion to like the average person.
I would say that if you're super obsessed with your future partner having a high body count, you shouldn't worry about people with 40 plus bodies. They're never fucking you and they're never engaging with you. That's outside of your purview. That should never be a concern of yours. And any other kind of like, if you think that's like a red flag, there's going to be tons of other red flag behavior you'll see way before you ask them how many people they fucked.
Way before you're at the pool.
Yeah.
Or sexual experience. They have more things that they're using a comparison based off of. It's part of a larger social trend where we're being a little bit more flippant, or we're succumbing to our hedonistic desires. Whereas somebody who doesn't do those things is probably a little bit more of a loyal partner.
So I don't think it's obvious that the wife who has slept with 40 people would be more likely to sleep with the pool guy, because let me turn that around for you.
For these, you just bite the bullet on it. Some people are too, and it's not even biting the bullet. Like, past sexual behavior can be a predictor of a lot of different things. And it does speak a little bit to, at the very least, your views of like casual sex. If somebody was to hold a gun in my head and I had to ask, you know, this person slept with 5 people, this person slept with 40, who's more likely to, you know, bang the pool? My guess is probably the person who slept with 40. That'd be my guess. It's probably going to be correct. It's not going to be dispositive. Like, this is the sole determining factor. There's probably a lot of other behaviors there as well. Probably a lot of other behaviors that are probably even more predictive. If you have a person who's fucked 40 guys and has never cheated when they've been in a relationship, and then you've got another person who's fucked like 7 guys, but she's cheated in all of her relationships, well, who do you think is more likely to fuck the pool boy? I mean, like, there are other behaviors that you can look at as well. People just obsess. They just obsess on this. It's just such a cringe thing. It's fucking so cringe.
Somebody who is dating somebody or marrying somebody who's very sexually experienced, they have had a lot of different experiences, so they're going to have a better understanding of what they like, what they want, and so when they commit to you, they're making a much better formed commitment. And so as long as there is trust and integrity in that relationship, right? As long as you trust that your wife is being honest to you and being honest about her experiences and being honest about what she wants, there's no increased likelihood that she's going to sleep with the pool guy. And by the way, that same study that you just mentioned, what's interesting about it is that women who slept from between 3 to 9.
Oh my God, I've never in my life seen a person bring this point up before.
Ooh.
Oh, thank you. I wonder if you'll engage with it. No one has ever, thank you.
That she's going to sleep with the pool guy. And by the way, that same study that you just mentioned, what's interesting about it is that women who slept from between 3 to 9 different partners are actually less likely to get divorced than women who slept with 1 or 2 partners prior to meeting their husbands.
Okay, we got to pause there. You've been voted out by the
Nobody
majority.
ever brings that up, though.
Oh my God. And they pause right there?
On God, on God, on God.
How you doing?
Jamari.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
Okay.
So the woman's body count does not matter. If we both go to a used car lot, one car is totaled, one car has the engine blown out twice, head gasket never works, always has to be replaced, the other car has a fender bender. Which one are you taking?
I reject the analogy because it presupposes that there's something about sex that is destructive to a body. I actually think a better version of that analogy is if you just bought the first car you ever test drove, how likely are you going to be satisfied with that car versus if you go out and test drive 5, 6, 7 cars, get an understanding of their features, what you like about them, what you don't like, then you're able to make a much better informed decision.
So again, which one
Women are cars, hell yeah. Jesus.
would you rather take? The one that's had all these problems or the one that's had the fender bender?
I told you.
Like, if you want to use the analogy, if we're going to, fuck it, we'll fucking objectify women, but why not based? Then it would be, would you rather have the car that was totaled twice, but had 1 prior owner, or would you rather the car that was never in an accident, but had 7 prior owners? Like, that would be the analogy for this.
Reject the analogy.
Okay, so we're going to test drive 6 different cars, 7 different cars.
Sure.
8, 9, 20? Why can't we just stick with our 1 car?
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
A lot of men treat body count as a proxy for trust, right? And so what I ask guys is I say, imagine 2 women. One of them is...
Oh my God, I mind melded. This guy's mind melded with me. He's about to say the thing, I think, that I just said, right? What about higher body count, but they didn't cheat. By the way, this is if you want to test for... This is if you want to find out, are you actually proxying like trust, or are you on some weird fucking I hate women shit or whatever, which most men are, because fuck it. The real Giga question, though, if you want to test for do you just hate women, that I never hear it asked, is woman with, 30 body count or woman with 5 body count. Who would you rather be married to? The woman with 5 bodies has fucked 5 guys. The woman with 30 bodies has slept with 30 women. Who would you rather be with? I think a lot of these guys would say the one that slept with more women. And that's also quite revealing about how do you feel about sex and engagement with sex and what kind of sex is damaging and what place do we have with sex. And
virgin. She has 0 sexual experience.
Fender bender.
Sure, fender bender. But you catch her lying to you. She doesn't keep her word. She's unreliable. And then there's a woman who, let's say, she's been with, I don't know, 10 guys,
Sure.
whatever. But She's honest with you. She always shows up when she says she's going to show up. She does what she says she's going to do. She's very loving. She's very caring. She's never broken your trust once.
That
Which one
woman
is likely to be a better partner?
would never have multiple partners.
Because she's had 10 different partners. Right? Why she had 10 different relationships. Why haven't those worked out?
Well, you would have to ask her that and find out.
Right.
Because people are complicated and they have different life stories.
Right, so let's ask you a question here. If a woman asks me, what do I do for work? How tall am I? How much do I bring it home? Why can I ask you, what's your body count? You have standards.
You can ask. This is another issue a lot of these people run into. It's why these like red pill spaces are so fucking toxic. You can ask that if you want, but like, I mean, what are you hoping to glean from it? And why are you dating women that are asking you this? Like, you're optimizing yourself to find the trashiest, most disgusting fucking women possible by selecting on like the trashiest metrics possible, and then you're getting mad that the women that you're selecting for are asking you the trashiest metrics possible. Like the type of woman to ask you or to be selective about like, oh, I don't date guys that are shorter than 6 feet and don't make at least 150K and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, damn. I mean, I guess if you want to like obsess over body count and then like women that ask these types of questions, like you can do that, but you're only going to be going after a specific type of woman. It's like, I don't know.
Why can I have a standard?
Standards are fine, but I think
Does the
all of
standard
those things
serve
that you
you?
just listed are arbitrary standards. And if I was surrounded by women right now, one of my claims would be height shouldn't matter. Ultimately, when you look at what drives relationship satisfaction, relationship success, these things are very low on the list, yet we tend to focus on them. We tend to over-index on them because they're very easy to measure. It's very easy to like compare 4 versus 6 or 6'2" versus 5'11", right? And so that's what everybody thinks about and talks about when it's actually, when you look at the research of like what makes for a happy relationship, these things aren't even on the map.
Okay, so if a woman has, let's say, 12, 13, 17 bodies, how many relationships have you been in? 3. What's up with the other 14 people?
She probably likes the party.
Then go party. We don't have to be together. But you can.
Or maybe she used to like the party, but now she's ready to settle down.
Not with me. Go. If you can decide who you open your legs for, you can't decide who gets down on one knee for you.
Can I ask why not with you?
If everybody's
Also, this position to have on sex is not necessarily wrong. I think he's actually fine to have this position on sex. The part where this gets super problematic is when you apply the lens so unevenly between men and women. If there's a guy and he's like, 30 years old and he's only had 2 sexual partners and he's looking for a woman with like a very low sexual partner count because he views like sexual specialness as a thing or whatever, I don't think it's even necessarily problematic. The only thing that's weird is that like, yeah, I need to fuck 50 women to get the experience and now I'm looking for a fucking 18-year-old trainable, submissive, breedable virgin. It's like, okay, well that seems kind of fucking weird, but
a turn and nobody's enjoyed it. Why do I want to get you now?
All right, we got pause there. You've been voted out by the majority.
It's just getting good.
How you doing?
What's up, man?
Doing well. My name's Glenn.
Nice to meet you.
So, I'm going to concede with you. Body count doesn't matter to the way that people think about it.
Okay.
There's no dictometer in front of the top of a woman's vagina that tells you how many thrusts per minute that she's had, right? So let's talk about. There is. I haven't seen one.
We agree on that.
Okay, cool. But let's talk about what a sexual risk does talk about. Every time you have sex, you're putting yourself in a very risky situation, right? A woman is getting penetrated. A man is having his way with her. So if a woman has a high body count, it does speak to the level of risk that she's willing to put herself in. And that could be questionable. Be like, well, but she's willing to put herself in risky situations like this. What other risky situations she might be able to put our relationship in? If this is a behavior pattern, that's where I would say body count matters. Most of the people are talking about, well, whether their body count matters because like they want to have make sure she's pair bondable, whatever. Right. A virgin will cheat on you just as quick as a woman that had 1,000 bodies. I'm with you there.
So like when I don't know, bro. I don't care. I hate everybody. I feel like I think there is a sizable portion of women, when they hear men talk about sex like this, or they hear stuff like this, nothing drives your vagina up harder than the idea of like, okay, do I want to let you fucking ruin my body? Do I love you enough to engage in a zero-sum game where you're going to be dinging my value as a human being? Like, it is literally the most disgustingly weird way to engage with sex. And it's like, I don't know. It's
100% true.
But when it comes to the behavior pattern, the characteristics, that speaks more to why body count could matter and should be factored in the decision if you're going to be willing to take risks.
There's nothing wrong with that. You can factor in, of course. It's fine. But like, it's the be all and end all, and then it's the different standards on both.
I'm trying to take some of these risks with you.
I think you and I are actually pretty close on this. I agree with you that personality and character traits is ultimately what matters. But my argument is that there's much better ways to find out if somebody's a risk-taking person than asking them for their body count.
Yeah, you're never going to find out a woman's body count, right?
Well, and it's also just
arbitrary.
I mean, take her to a fucking theme park and see how many roller coasters she goes on. Like, there's other ways to figure
see if she gets on the carousel. If she chooses the carousel first, right? Like, I'm with you on that because I would say, observe what she can observe, her behavior. Yes. How does she treat you? Does she treat you better than anyone else has ever tried?
100% agree with you. My point, though, and this is where body count is, I think, a bad proxy for what you're talking about, is that people are complicated, man.
Yeah,
people change, people grow, people go through phases. Like, some people have like fucked up histories and backgrounds.
Yeah.
I was a fucking mess when I was young. I racked up a huge body count. Now I'm in a very happy marriage. Body count is a weak data source.
Oh yeah, I would say that in the grand scheme of things, but not in a micro correlative, factor. Now let's be honest. Like, most of the reason why people are saying the body count matters is because they don't have sex enough. They're more concerned about being her best. And Dr. Orion Taban on my own podcast said that being her best is more important than being her first. Because her first could be this guy.
Uh-oh.
Who's like 6'3", tall, he might be a pro ball player.
Yes.
And you want her to be falling up after that one body count? Probably not.
The body count obsession is men's insecurities being projected onto the women.
I agree with you, but the fact that it does matter when you're factoring in risky behavior, that's more important.
All right, we got pause there. You've been voted out by the majority.
Cheers, man.
All right.
How you doing, man?
Ross.
Beta
so,
male.
A woman's body count doesn't matter. That's the claim. I would argue that it's a blanket statement. Like, I would argue that most men want a beautiful balance between experience and exclusivity. Say for like the city boys in the club, they want a girl with a high body count because they don't want an inexperienced, horrible lay.
Yeah.
And people or men, they want a woman that no one's had because they don't want the homies talking about, oh, I had her too. And also, like Len said, I think that patterns matter too. The people that we're talking about are driven by patterns. And so that data is totally valuable based on how they're going to act when
in real life.
What?
Are people like, oh yeah, like I've been with her too?
Yes. And generally, men view it a lot differently than women. So, like, one example of this is, generally speaking, neither side, by the way, believes either side about this. But generally speaking, it is almost unimaginable for like 99% of men to be talking to like from one guy to another who they're like, yo, check out like this, pic or vid or whatever of my wife. She's fucking hot. Like, look at my girlfriend or whatever, blah, 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 like this. They might do like a casual lay, like a fling or a hookup. But the idea of like men having a conversation like that is like unreal. Like most men couldn't fathom it. It's just like an insane thing. Women in their friend groups will literally actively trade around like nudes and shit with their
like
husbands
their
and like comment on it.
husband's
And,
dick pic or
and they
whatever,
talk about like their hookups and they talk about like their experiences with their husbands in bed and things and blah, blah, blah. They just like share a lot more of it. It's just it's a different feeling of, on the man side, the idea of like the friend fucked my my girl or whatever. It's like I don't own her anymore. And
times get tough, maybe they are disloyal sexually. Maybe that's part of their pattern.
My argument here, though, is that all this kind of pontificating of like, what does it mean if she's been with 6 guys, or what does it mean if she's been with one guy? Like, it could mean this, it could mean that. Just fucking talk to her. Just talk to her. Go on the date, get to know her. That's going to tell you 100 times more than like a number in a spreadsheet.
I understand that. Walking both sides of the line, both walks of life, I would like to have my partner be less experienced and more loyal so that her sexual compatibility is malleable to mine. We get to mold our...
I don't care. I hate women. I hate men. I hate everybody. You sound like you're a pedophile when you say shit like this. I'm sorry. I get it's just like, but maybe everybody, I don't know. I think it's weird. I don't think anybody hears a statement like this and a woman thinks, yeah, I'm like, he can mold me into his own as he uses me because I'm too fucking retarded. And it's just fucking, I think it's weird, whatever.
Loyal so that her sexual compatibility is malleable to mine. We get to mold our sexual partners to our liking and vice versa. And I think that that's a lot more possible when the partners haven't stacked bodies to the sky.
What I'm arguing against is kind of this social judgment, all this like viral content of shaming women for body counts and all this stuff. It's like that.
Destiny, but if that were true, wouldn't there be way more rumors of men's penis sizes? No, because even if they share pictures, women think that men's dicks are about as long as the experience they have with them. Women are the most retarded people when it comes. If a woman gets laid by a dude and she thinks it was a really good lay, she'll tell people like, "Oh yeah, I think his dick was like 8 or 9 inches long," because they're literally fucking retarded. A woman has no fucking idea how long the difference is between like 10 inches or 5 inches. There's so many people, even women like super low body counts, who will just casually drop shit. It's like, yeah, my ex was super hung. I think he had like a 9-inch dick. I'm like, are you crazy? Did he perforate your uterus? 9 inches? But people have no idea, especially women. Just don't even listen to it. Don't even think. And a woman will casually offhandedly say some shit like, I think the average length of my partner is like 7 or 8 inches or whatever. They just like casually say shit like this. Just don't sweat it. Don't mind it. If you fuck her well, she'll say that you have an 8-inch dick when she's talking about it in the future, okay?
If it works for you, that's great, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to work for every man out there.
Nathan.
Or every woman who's been with so many guys should be shamed for it. Who cares?
Okay, pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
What's up, man?
Hi, Patrick.
Sick outfit, man.
Thank you. I have 2 questions. Number 1, do you have any employees that work for you?
Yes.
Jesus.
You do. Now, did you look into their history when you hired them?
Of course.
Of course. If you saw someone with a job history of maybe 1, 2, 3 jobs, do you have any employees that work for you?
Yes.
You do. Now, did you look into their history when you hired them?
Of course.
Of course. If you saw someone with a job history of maybe 1, 2, 3 jobs, a long period of time, or someone with 15 jobs, was there for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, you called their employees, like they didn't last, which one would you pick based off of if they're equally qualified?
Depends on
in the
what my
interview?
job is.
Whoever interviewed better.
I was just saying they're both equally qualified on the interview. So why are you looking into the history if someone's meeting for the first time they interviewed great? Why would you even bother looking into the history of it?
So without quibbling with the analogy, which I could, if we're going to stick with the job interview analogy, I actually think this is an analogy that works in my favor, right? Because you can have people who have only been at one company and have terrific experience, and then they get on the interview and you realize that they don't know a damn thing.
For sure. And yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
And then there's other people who have worked at 10 different companies and jumped around every single year, but then you get on the interview and you realize, that there's a clear explanation for that they have a diversity of experience, and actually they're a really good fit. My argument here is really that, like, forget body count, just talk to her.
I personally agree with that. I don't think you have to ask a woman her body count to know, because if you just pay attention, her actions will show you everything you need to know.
Her actions and attitudes will tell you everything you need to know.
And then I'm also assuming, my other question was, I'm assuming that you're talking about body count matters when it just comes to relationships, not value as a person, correct? Because I would say, like, I don't think people think someone's like less valuable as a human being just based off how
They absolutely do, but okay.
much sex they had. But maybe to a relationship, some guys may find that a less valuable someone that's been around. You know,
some people do. So, but to that latter point, there is absolutely some demeaning language within the manosphere around women around that, and that is very much what I disagree.
I mean, I think that's just projection and insecurity, because they want to disqualify someone from the beginning to, soothe their rejection. Personally, is what I think.
Pause there. You've run out of time. We're going to move on to the next round.
Thank you.
My next surrounded claim is that porn has done more damage to men than feminism has.
Damn. They're all going to agree with this one.
Mark.
Oh, they're going to say you're half right, but for the wrong reasons, because the reality is feminism is what made the porn so bad now.
Sean Gordon.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, bro. Feminism, straight pipeline to abortion. Abortion kills upward of 1 million Americans every single year.
There we go.
It's 3,000 men, women, and children.
You understand that when Margaret Sanger or whatever wanted abortion, she said she wanted to kill all black babies.
Damn. Right? If we're talking about comparatively on what's had the greatest impact on taking away manpower from America, have to say without a doubt feminism by far. What do you have to say about that?
Damn. I was not expecting to
He's
go
not even
down
touching the
abortion
claim.
He just got wrecked.
I don't see how this relates to, like, men's mental health and agency in the world.
We're comparing feminism specifically, right?
Yeah.
To porn.
Yeah.
So, of course, porn is degenerative as well. I say we get rid of them, both of them, feminism and porn.
Okay.
Definitely. But if we're comparing feminism and the destruction that it's had on men as a whole in America versus porn, we'd have to, like, say that the lives actually being taken.
Obviously, you see abortion as murder.
Absolutely.
So your argument is that the murder of all of the aborted fetuses is vastly outweighs any damage that porn could ever do to.
Extremely. Another caveat to that: the porn and feminism come from the same place.
There it is.
Could talk about that later on a different. We can get more. The same destruction of the nuclear family.
Okay.
Was
because porn has been around for thousands of years.
Let's say the people who own OF right now. Okay. Let's say that the most profound ability to make the America's daughters prostitutes from the young age all the way to the high age. Right.
Oh shit! We're about to be Nation of Islam up in here. Uh-oh.
Right, on a vast majority, what they say, 35 to 40% of women right now, over 18 going up into 45, are on OnlyFans right now.
That's not true.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Wait, real quick. Somebody said, what's your opinion on inviting people you've been with to weddings? I think it's a fine boundary, and I think it's pretty symmetric, but I've definitely heard others say it's petty/jealousy. Whatever you're going to do, just make sure your partner knows, because if you hide that shit, that could literally destroy your whole fucking relationship. Nobody wants to feel like they've been hanging around some dude or some chick that's fucked their partner and they didn't know about it, and then they find out about it later because they're going to feel like you were both like hiding some shit and playing a game with them, and it's going to fucking fuck your shit up. So careful.
Yes, definitely.
I actually have
unless it was you banging their mom or their dad, then just don't say it and hope it never comes out, because you'll never get over that anyway. So
the actual numbers from OnlyFans themselves.
Please.
My ex-wife was at my wedding. Oh, so was mine.
Give me that.
Yeah, so there are 3.7 million total creators on OnlyFans.
What?
Oh, get it.
1.1 million in the US. About 90% are women, and only 70% are doing adult material. So that equates to about 700,000 women doing adult material in the US, which is roughly 3% of women between 18 and 40. It's still a lot.
You would say that's more destructive than feminism. When feminism gave you the sexual liberation movement to even empower women to believe that you get some type of power
I think porn is more destructive for men than feminism is.
Explain.
So the average male currently first got access to porn when he was 11 years old. By 18, 90% of men are using it regularly or have used it regularly in the past. Men who use porn regularly, you see worse metrics across the board. More likely to be depressed, more likely to have body dysmorphia, more likely to have erectile dysfunction.
Are you on porn?
More likely to commit suicide, more likely to have poor relationships. This is ubiquitous. It's available literally for every young man on the entire planet. I mean, one thing that I would probably agree with you guys is that feminism, there's some good and there's some bad, especially the last 10 years.
Especially the feminism that promoted high body counts being okay and not mattering, right?
Well,
so the same effects of the mental depression, all the other degenerative...
We're back to the body counts, are we? Okay.
It's extremely important. I'm not going to get the last one to be able to see what about the manosphere as advice is making you not okay with that, but it's kind of almost obvious.
All right, we've got to pause there. You've been voted out.
Pause.
Appreciate you.
Get out of here.
Get him out of here. Bump.
Hi.
Hello.
Jessica.
Mark.
Nice to meet you. Porn is more dangerous or damaging?
Damaging.
Damaging to men. Okay, so porn use is selective. Not every man uses it, but every man is subjected to feminism in their society, in their marriages, in their workplace, in their home. You can choose autonomously not to watch porn. You can't choose.
How does the manosphere feel about
end
tattoos?
no fault of
I don't know. Probably based on men discussing on women, we might guess. I don't know.
divorce, which is exposing children 70% more likelihood to being abused. Same with the women. Opening the welfare program for single mothers, which is increasing the crime rate, which is affecting all of society as a whole, not just men singularly.
If that were true, then you would expect to see male mental health decline in the most progressive countries in the world, right? There are countries that are even more feminist than we are.
UK.
Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, Australia, there are lots of them. You don't see the same decline in male mental health that you see here or in the UK.
Are the populations the same in Germany and Sweden as they are in America?
No, there's lots of differences, obviously. But my point is that if feminism was just by and large the problem for men's outcomes, then you would see a clear pattern across all of the most progressive countries of the world, and you would not see men struggling in non-feminist countries, right?
Well,
so there are countries like China and Japan where men are struggling even more than they are here. That's an indicator that feminism is like not the root cause here.
Okay, but the argument is porn is doing more damage to men than feminism.
Yes.
You can choose as an autonomous adult male who's accountable for your own actions and behaviors not to watch porn and engage in that activity, but you can't choose to avoid feminism in society.
Correct, but it's, if 11-year-olds were getting access to cigarettes and alcohol every day, would you make the same argument that like, well, those 11-year-olds, they can choose not to indulge in cigarettes and alcohol?
Well,
or would
the
you
difference
would you tell the purveyors of the cigarettes and alcohol, get the hell away
No,
from
I would
the
probably
11-year-olds?
tell the parents, your child isn't autonomous, they can't make their own decisions, they can't consent, so you as a parent need to be more controlling over your child and their behavior. So children, making an equation between adult male and children is not the same because they're not autonomous like adults are.
And porn is predominantly harming young boys.
Absolutely,
Yes.
yeah, which is why we should probably have age restriction and identification on it for uses, which has been shut down in places like Minneapolis.
Yeah, so I agree with you on that.
So
We
I
agree
think
on that.
we can mutually agree that porn is damaging
Yes.
to men and women and society. But if you're going to measure it, feminism has done more damage to society and men's mental health, family economy, the nuclear family.
I just don't see that in the data. Like I don't.
The data and the results of feminism are out, and men's mental
It's
health,
bad.
women's mental health has been worse than it's ever been in recorded
It's
history.
bad.
More men and more women are committing suicide today than they ever have been in
That's not
recorded
true.
history.
Pre-1970, actually, funny enough, 1950s suicide rate was actually the all-time high.
Okay.
What?
It's complicated, and I think we both agree that men in today's society are struggling greatly. But when you look at feminism as a 100-year project of women's liberation, equal rights, voting rights, civil rights, I just think it gets scapegoated for a lot of other things.
All right, pause there. You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
How do you feel about porn?
Based.
All right. How you doing?
So, question: as a male feminist, aren't you okay with women doing porn? Aren't you okay with them having high body counts? Or because feminism tells women if they want to sleep around, that's totally fine. Just like you said, so I'm confused. If porn is more destructive and feminism pushes that they're allowed to do that, I get there are some feminists. I'm not sure if you are one who's anti-porn. Maybe you're just pro-sexuality but anti-porn. But how can you explain that to me?
I'm generally sex positive. People should be free to explore their sexuality as they see fit, I think, including women.
Why not porn,
I
then?
don't think that they should be demeaned or degraded for exploring that sexuality.
I get that. Wouldn't you then be okay with women doing pornography then?
I am okay with women doing pornography. My issue
You're not okay with
is
porn?
the ubiquity and the access that men have to it, particularly young men and young boys. The ease of which a 14-year-old boy can spend an entire day just staring at porn for free.
True.
right?
But okay, so quick question. You're a father, I'm assuming you are?
I'm not.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a father,
He
right? So
wants
I
it
have
all to
access
be
to
paid.
all the internet in my house. If I want to, I can just block it off and not let my
He's
kids
what?
watch anything like
He said he has the problem with it for a young boy to sit there for free and watch porn all day. I said he wants it to be paid.
Oh, yeah. He's trying to hoard it all for himself.
that, right? Which I do. My children aren't that age yet, but when they get to it, I would do that, right? So that would kind of eliminate that. But if my kids go outside or just watch them on TV that pushes feminism or whatever the case may be, or sometimes I've seen them where they're on just kids YouTube and something pops up or like OnlyFans or something.
Feminism?
It's like, popping up on kids YouTube, right? Which you would think has parental control on it.
Sure.
So that's something that's unavoidable. Where I can just put something on my internet that says, hey, anything that has adult content on there, my children cannot see.
The first thing I'll say is that do you think that your kids are going to get around those blocks?
I hope not.
Because statistically, they will.
Well, maybe I'll get it from a friend or something.
Go to a friend's house or whatever. The data is, I think it's 90.
Okay, but are you saying you can't go to your
I
friend's
hate
house to get
this-
feminism? What?
I hate this fucking argument. Like, oh, well, the kids are gonna get past it. It's like, sure, if anybody's dedicated enough, they can get past anything. But why do we have locks on our fucking doors? Because it's gonna probably stop like most of it.
Sure. Or it reduces the amount, for sure. I think that when these people talk about it, though, they're like, these people have like big epistemic moral qualms with kids and porn. Like, they think that like a kid should never in his entire, like if they sees it even one time, it's like it's a massive moral failing or something. So for them, like, you know, on a lock, sure, like sometimes people might break in, but like for porn and a kid sees a pornographic thing ever, like it's like the end of the world.
94, 92% of boys by 18 have been exposed to pornography, and about roughly 70, 75% of them are exposed to it.
So are you full ban on it?
I'm for two things. One is I do think there should be tighter restrictions.
I'm gonna say body count does not matter and porn is bad. Probably for generally the arguments against porn that I've heard. I don't know if this guy's religious though. But generally the argument is that the problem with pornography is that it's just too widely available and people spend like all day on it basically. I think I don't know how often this happens, but if anybody here is in a gooner cycle where you're masturbating for 20 hours.
Around it, and I do think there should probably be some regulation around it.
Because you could just turn on camera, have sex, and say it's porn, and pay the woman, and technically she was a prostitute.
Yeah. And secondly, I think there should be just a lot of education and awareness built around this. And this is one of the things that I do in my work is just letting guys know, like, hey, dude,
you don't have to masturbate
porn every day for years is like fucking your brain.
No, I agree.
And your dick. So,
All right, pause there. You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. All right, so I think when we talk about feminism, we have to be very specific because I agree with you that, Elizabeth Cady Stanton's Declaration of Sentiments did not create the porn problem that we have today. So big into first wave and then even some of those elements of second wave feminism that secure rights and freedoms. I think that the problem is when you get to these third and fourth waves, we start to get this demoralization of men. We start to get this narrative that patriarchy is this thing, this overarching thing in society, and that men are the primary sources of everything that's wrong with our culture. And I think that you see a major withdrawal there. What's interesting or maybe a little bit ironic about the claim is that I think that we're kind of looking at two things that are feeding into each other. I think modern feminism, gender feminism is by and large responsible or contributing to a lot of the loneliness and withdrawal that we see, which is causing that uptick in pornography, which you and I are in major agreement, totally unhelpful and detrimental to society and men in general.
You had me up until those last few sentences. I think we agreed on everything up until there. I agree a lot of these statements about young boys being told that they are just inherently problematic for existing, right? Like these are all, we're on the same page there. Like that, those things just are terrible narratives to have in the culture. Terrible. That said, I personally don't think they are widespread enough or ubiquitous enough to really point at them and say, that's the problem. Because when you look at the problems that have been affecting young men and boys, they go back decades. They go back to the 80s and 90s before any of this stuff started. So I think it's a little bit of a red herring. I think it's a lot of political talking points that get a lot of attention, right? It's like we hear about something crazy happening in elementary school. Everybody gets riled up and freaked out. And we're like, that's the problem. And it's not. That's one school. It's a minority case. It's something that hasn't been ubiquitous for more than a few years. Whereas there are like real structural problems and issues that have been going on for decades that have been harming young men that just never get talked about. And I feel like pornography is one of the larger ones.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. I think that you made a point prior when you were talking about sort of the shift in the economy that we're seeing, kind of going from physical-based careers to more social-based careers, and that women on average tend to prefer those social-based careers, and that's tend to be where the economy is going. So I'm totally with you there. I think that's one of the major issues. I think the overprescription of methylphenidate medication, pathologizing male play behavior, fatherlessness, all of these things are contributing. But again, the problem is that the left controls the megaphones of society. So the left controls Hollywood. The left controls mainstream media. And the left is part of this cultural movement about patriarchy and toxic masculinity and the demoralization of young men at every twist and turn, starting in elementary schools, which are by and large dominated by women who are teachers, particularly left-leaning women who sort of propagate this narrative that men are these really, really dangerous, pathologizing cretins of society. And what do? They withdraw. They say, okay, well, if I participate in society, I become evil. Maybe I'll just withdraw, and maybe I'll just hang out in my mother's basement. Maybe I'll watch porn, because if I don't want to be evil, well, at least I could be harmless. At least I could do nothing. So I think you and I are agreeing here a little bit, right? But
again, mostly, I think we agree on the problem. I don't think we agree on the explanation, which is, I would say, are all of those messages that young men are getting recently, is that actually causing the issue, or is it just messaging that's not helpful? And I would argue that it's just messaging that's not helpful. And to your point about the left having the megaphone, obviously that's changing the last few years. The fact that we're here right now is part of that changing.
Yeah, independent media is doing a tremendous job in breaking down those barriers.
And my fear with the manosphere, the reason I'm here today, is because I want these issues to be brought up to the public consciousness in a way that is healthy and not attached to all sorts of the toxic ideologies.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with you there. I think that where I would push back heavily is that I think you're downplaying a little bit just how serious and pervasive these narratives are that's coming out of the third and fourth wave feminist movement, gender feminism, however you kind of want to call it. And then you have all of those cultural megaphones in the ear of young men telling them, you are the problem. Be more like a woman. Suppress those urges. Don't be aggressive. Don't go out and work hard. Don't bother tuning into those masculine urges. Those then get suppressed. And what happens when they get suppressed, they manifest in these really sort of crude and dangerous ways. And I think that's what you see, why the manosphere even exists in the first place, right? I think that one could kind of understand the manosphere as maybe a response to gender feminism or a backlash to gender feminism, which I think is obvious to predict, right? Of course, such a radical movement denigrating young men would produce sort of a fascist or psychopathic backlash that is equally unhelpful. So I think that the main thing is we need to change the narrative in the culture, honoring what makes men men, not saying that men and women are interchangeable, that men need to be more like women, that men's sort of innate urges and desires around physical strength, around aggression, those could actually be channeled in super helpful ways. I mean, the things
we got to pause there. We're out of time.
Of course. Right. Well, it was great, Mark. I really love your work and everything you do.
Thank you. My final surrounded claim is that the most attractive men are those who like and respect women.
Wow. Uh-oh.
Welcome back.
What about the bad
I think
boys?
there are kind of two different hypothetical case studies that would show that this isn't the case. I actually wish what I'm about to say wasn't the case.
Okay.
But there
One, every 972% of women read rape fantasies. And number two, That's going to be the first one. What's the other one going to be? Women prefer drug dealers
bad boy.
and bad boys when you pull them on traits and blah, blah, blah.
We all know the example of the man who is really not a great guy. And, her friends are telling her, like, oh, you shouldn't date this guy. But she's just so attracted to him that she's kind of hooked into that. Yeah. And on the counter side, we know the kind of guys that are really nice, who are really respectful, who are buying dinners, who are getting flowers, who are doing all these things. And they're just not that attractive. Right. So no matter how respectful they are, no matter how good they are, no matter how kind of nice guy they are. Right. And it doesn't mean that there's a continuum of you have to be a bad boy, you have to be a nice guy. I think every good man should be both. You should be attractive, you should be strong, you should be like kind of masculine energy, and you should be a nice person. Right. But these are two different continuums. And so it's not being nice and being respectful and kind of being really polite to women is what makes you attractive. It's actually kind of irrelevant.
Okay. Let me introduce another dimension to that spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
I would argue that nice guys are not actually nice. They're usually being, they're usually being nice in a transactional way, right? It's like,
I bought you flowers, now will you like me?
Yeah, let's have sex. And women smell that a mile away, and it's a complete turn off, and obviously it is very creepy. I would argue that assholes are also quite transactional, right? And the only difference between the nice guy and the asshole is the nice guy is transactional and very manipulative. Here, let me buy you flowers so I can get what I want. The asshole is like, I'm just going to say whatever I need to say to you to get what I want.
And that works, unfortunately, often enough in these kind of short-term relationships.
It works in the short term, and it works with insecure women. Right. Those are the two circumstances that it works in. There is a third type of guy who is just not transactional.
Yeah.
And is like, this is who I am. I like you. Do you want to go out? And if she says yes, great. If she says no,
don't believe him. He's trying to hog all the women with his bad blue pill advice, guys. Careful. He's probably got 30 women on his roster right now.
Oh, great. He's going to go find somebody else. Yeah. Those are the most attractive men.
Right. So can we agree that your claim is false for insecure women?
Ooh. Not necessarily. Because
so what did you just say then about how those kind of asshole guys is effective on insecure women?
It is effective on insecure women, but I think also just being a confident, honest man can also be effective with insecure women.
Okay, but I feel like you've already conceded that those guys are attractive to them.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. So now looking at the secure women, we got this third axis of how honest you are,
right?
Which is, as we would agree, should be the most important axis of like how truthful you are if you're trying to be transactional.
And it is.
I wish it were that way.
It is. It is.
That those guys are attractive to them.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. So now looking at the secure women, we have this third axis of how honest you are,
right?
Which is, as we would agree, should be the most important axis of like how truthful you are if you're trying to be transactional.
And it is.
I wish it were that way.
It is. It is. So actually, David Buss, who I'm sure you're familiar with.
I don't know who that is.
Okay. David Buss is like the godfather of sexual mating research across the world. He's done some of the largest cross-cultural studies on what men and women find attractive, what draws them into a partner. His work across 37 different cultures found that women prioritize consistently across all cultures kindness and intelligence above all of other traits in terms of long-term partners.
But the problem is that's of relationships that have already succeeded.
Right.
And so in the relationships that you say, it's, oh, he's so nice to me, he's so kind to me, he's so good to me. But she only wants those things from a man she's already attracted to begin with.
And that she knows is being nice and kind genuinely and authentically and is not just trying to please her or impress her. Or
for sure.
And this is the thing, is that the asshole gets mistaken for a confident man because he's not controlled by what she wants.
Well, that often is.
We got to pause there. You've been voted out.
You got voted out, Mitch. No.
Welcome back.
What?
So are you implying men in the manosphere don't like or respect women?
Have I talked to this guy on Jubilee? I feel like I have. He looks like a conservative debater guy, or maybe it was a manosphere debate. I feel like I've talked to this guy before.
Is that your implication of the claim?
Yes, I would classify a number of predominant manosphere influencers as not liking and being respectful towards women. Yes.
So when you say like, you mean just like they're not attracted to them? Like, would you say the manosphere consists of homosexual men, or what's the like about?
Maybe. In some cases.
Okay.
I would say like as in genuinely enjoy the company of women without having to trying to get something out of them. And in terms of respect, I would say like respect for their autonomy and their ability to live their own life, like not trying to control them or domineer them in some way.
Okay, so you just say like men and women are just equal in kind of your sense, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, if I say they're equal in value but not equal in capability, does that resonate with you at all?
Sure.
So would you say that men are just naturally more in a leadership role, and that in order to protect someone in a leadership role, you have to have some masculine traits that are going to protect that woman, which sometimes having some type of authority saying, hey, you shouldn't do this, I'm going to protect you in this sense, which doesn't mean you're disrespecting them. You actually respect them so much that you want to take care of them.
Wow.
I disagree with that. Men are typically in a leadership role. A lot of women have good leadership qualities as well.
Yeah, well, you say like broad, like in different aspects of like business or stuff. I'm talking about just relationship-wise. Women will lead in nurturing the children, and then men will lead in protecting and providing for that family.
And in some relationships, it's vice versa.
But would you say for the vast majority? Because we have to speak in generalities, right? And generalities are usually, men are in that leadership role, and that pertains to the work the majority of the time, right? There's always going to be exceptions, but we don't harp on an exception.
I would say the leadership roles, both people in the relationship take leadership roles in different aspects of the relationship. I would agree with you there. And if you want to say that men typically take a leadership role when it comes to, say, protecting the family, right? But I don't necessarily think that's always true, and I don't necessarily think that we necessarily extrapolate larger assumptions out of that.
Can you give me an example where in the manosphere a man doesn't respect the woman and you're just kind of...
I mean, I just watched the Netflix documentary last night. I mean, there's probably 100 instances of these guys calling women stupid, whores, worthless, saying you have to control them. If she breaks your trust, you ruin her life, that she's nothing without you, like all these sorts of things. And I would classify all of those as disrespect, fundamentally disrespectful.
Okay, you got to pause there. You've been voted out.
Got it. Thank you.
These guys, bro. They don't respect the men.
How are you?
No, they're
So
jelly.
I don't actually disagree with what you said. When it comes to hypergamy in society, I saw you mentioned Myron Gaines earlier. I don't necessarily
What
agree with
is
everything Myron Gaines
hypergamy?
says, but
It's some fucking retarded idea that hypergamy is like women are always trying to upgrade, basically. It just women like women always
So
aim
they're
up.
just going
and-
from one to the next.
Yeah, they
like,
call
to
it
get better
monkey
and better?
branching or whatever else. Yeah, women
Oh,
are
Jesus
hypergamous. They're always
Christ.
going after men with more than what they have.
what advice are you actually giving men in society that's better than what Myron Gaines gives them when it comes to combating hypergamy?
And just to clarify, by hypergamy, you mean the fact that women tend to prefer men who have more resources and more status. Yes. So I would say that it is true. Women are generally more attracted to men who have more resources and more status. It's just a fact of life. But I would argue that you can make up a lot of that simply through character, behavior, shared values, shared life experiences, and the way you communicate with a woman.
But not when it comes with promiscuity, right? Because like if it's a case that men want to get married, you're probably not going to want promiscuous women. And I think promiscuity is bad for men and women, but I think it's worse for women because it causes male promiscuity because of hypergamy in society. A lot of these
Bays. We have a problem with women. Why? Because men are fucking too many of them, and the women are giving it up too easy. True.
men are secularist men. They don't follow any sort of ecclesiastical authority when it comes to the way that they govern relationships. That's why you see Myron Gaines giving out advice like
women are
100
followers,
women
though,
or 50 women or whatever his advice is. And again, I don't agree prescriptively with a lot of what he says, but I don't know that secularists actually hand out better advice than that. I think that I don't know.
My advice to men, it has been and has always been, is that you got to get out there and meet lots of women face to face. Hypergamy is not an issue if we're not filtering most of our dating options through a screen that we're swiping through every 3 seconds, right? It's like when people's attention span, when it comes to filtering a mate, is limited to just a handful of seconds and like the most superficial facts about them. Of course, they're going to over-index on those superficial traits and those unimportant facts, right? Whereas like if you actually get face to face with women, you actually meet them, you find some that you gel with, you vibe with, that you have like good rapport with, you have shared values, you have shared dreams, right? Like this can
Sure, but that's not a big percentage of women.
We got to pause there. You've been voted out.
Yeah.
It's a very large
These guys are just
Get out of here.
running a train on this guy.
Johnny, how you doing?
Good, how are you? So I want to kind of clarify our terms. As far as attractiveness, I would say, is it the likelihood of landing that first date, or is it like a successful marriage?
I would say both. With
Do you
I will
think
concede
Myron
that
Gaines
first
got
date,
hypergamied when
Stop.
she
We don't talk
Sorry,
shit.
we like
about
Myron
him.
here.
Well,
My fault.
we don't go in
Well,
personal.
we don't
because
talk
he
shit
respects
about
us. Okay.
All right, I
it's a
apologize,
bit more.
Myron.
Yeah, you should.
Like there are a bunch of asshole-ish things you can do to get that first date, but you don't have to do them.
Okay, I agree with that. But what's being preached online is otherwise, and that's what we're seeing as far as like the fantasy side of what women consume, like women porn, is often the vampire, pirate, the 50 Shades of Grey guy. He was a jerk. So we see that. What's something we're gonna like put onto ourselves to get that date, and often it works. Being that jerk gets you that first date, and if you want to be the nice guy after that, I support that, and that's something you should do.
Can I ask you maybe a somewhat personal question?
Go for it.
Have you ever watched porn that you were like, I would never actually do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But that's
50 Shades of Grey.
I see it, but there is a correlation between the guys that are jerks in real life do land that first date.
Yeah, and then they lose the girl. And you see this happen over and over. I mean, I saw it in my line of work. Being a jerk.
Just as a quick thing too, also, this is all cringe and stupid and anecdotal. Like all these guys are anecdotal, whatever. The guys who are jerks, okay. If anybody's ever coached a friend, like if you've ever had a friend tell you, like, or ask you for advice, like, should I get with this person? First of all, always don't bother because they're always going to do it. By the time they're asking you, they're already planned to do it. So
It's
don't,
over.
yeah, fuck it. Okay, let them do it. But also, the reason why these conversations are usually so hard is because people who are like the jerks or the assholes, they never are when they're chasing. That's why these conversations with friends are always so difficult. It's like, this guy's a fucking piece of shit, bro. He's like, well, I know that he was in this and blah, 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 but, you know, like, we've been, like, chatting, and he actually, I don't know, he seems cool, and he says it was because she was
really
crazy,
nice.
and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the people, the quote-unquote assholes and jerks are not assholes and jerks when they're in chasing mode. It's afterwards, right? That's what happens. Yeah, so people are like, oh, if you just go out and treat women like shit, you're going to get so many fucking dates. It's like, no, you're not. The people that do it know when to turn it on and when to turn it off.
They
It kind
beat
of
you
feigns
after,
confidence, right?
you know?
Yeah.
Right? Like women have a
Hunters.
very finely tuned radar for a guy who is going to be easily pushed over by her. And so they're generally very attracted by guys who are not easily pushed over, that they have their own thing going on. They're very confident, strong in their own, you know, they believe in themselves. They know what they're doing. They know what they're about. And so if she meets a jerk, that is a little bit of a false positive signal. He has no actual character to back that up. And so it quickly either fizzles out or it spirals into a very toxic relationship dynamic that, you know, we've all seen before. You can convey that same lack of pushoverness without being a dick.
I agree.
Jesus. How long was that guy even on for? Oh my God.
He was on for like 20 seconds.
Jesus.
Nice suit, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Andrew Tate, Coach Greg Adams, Alpharonomy. There's many men in the manosphere that are spreading a 100% positive message. Women love jerks. That's 100%. You know that.
I disagree.
What I want to do is I want to
All
go
right,
back.
this guy looks like
and kinda
somebody.
Looks like what?
He looks like somebody.
Kevin Samuel?
Let me look up who Kevin Samuel is. Lance Reddick. That's who I was thinking. The Wire. A little bit.
Oh, like like a CGI de-aged
Lance Reddick.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
That's 100%. You know that.
I disagree.
What I want to do is I want to go back and kind of round this all together.
Yeah.
Men have suffered for years. When you think
Because
about the
of women.
Gladiator, when you think about Thomas Edison, in the extremity that you need to focus in on something as a man to
Thomas
create
Edison?
these amazing things that we have in the world. Men have always been extreme. Men have always had a nuclear focus. We have the manosphere taking men away from pornography, taking men away from loneliness. What are things that you're doing for these men to take them away from pornography?
So I've been writing for young men since 2008. Between 2008 and 2013, I coached hundreds of young guys.
writing
That was
books?
like all the guys here in this
What's
circle.
your podcast?
It was my career. I care very deeply about finding young men who are struggling
That would
and
probably
helping
be a
uplift
better way
them,
to get
because
to
I
young
was one
men.
of those young men too at one point. And if you're bringing men together to improve themselves, that's amazing. But if you're bringing them together under the auspices that feminism and women are ruining society, and that you have to control a woman to have a relationship with her, that you have to be the dictator in your family, you're setting up these men for failure down the road.
But have men always been the dictators of their family? Men have always led. And that's what we're missing today. That's why we have loneliness. That's why you have time. Men didn't have time to watch porn years and years ago. That's why men have time to watch porn today.
But there's also a lot of fucked up things that we've done throughout history that we stopped doing, right? Like, we used to kill people for looking at us the wrong way. We started wars over nothing.
He's like, well, maybe we should.
Just because
He's
we
like-
used to do something for thousands of years doesn't mean we should keep doing it. And being the dictator of the family, I would categorize as one of those things.
The other thing that I want to focus on, the extremity. You do agree that men have always been extreme. Men have always been laser focused. Men have always needed to be able to put that energy into something, yeah?
No.
Sure.
Okay.
No.
So being one of the leaders of men that are out there, I think we should have 100 more Andrew Tates. Why don't we need more of that? Why wouldn't you want more Andrew Tates given that message?
I agree with you that we need more voices helping young men. I take issue with the packaging and the persona around it. It's going to backfire for a lot of these men down the road.
Okay, but you know, anytime there's a huge gathering, there's always going to be things that backfire. Nothing's going to be perfect. You know that.
Sure, but it's also, we should call out.
That was a
the thing that's
Shervin
gonna
argument.
backfire, right? It's like, hey, no, that's a little bit too much, man. Like, let's step
But
back.
how can you call it out if there are men who are benefiting, if there are men who are changing their life, if there are men who were in horrible situations that have learned that men suffer, that men go through things? This is somebody who I can look to and borrow their energy and be able to take something positive from.
You can definitely benefit from somebody who is giving you good advice for bad reasons. If you just have nothing, that good advice is going to lift you up and you're going to have something. The problem is the fact that the advice is given for bad reasons. Those bad reasons are going to eventually catch up with you. And so you're going to struggle to maintain relationships. You're going to struggle to build long-term community. You're going to struggle to relate and respect the world, right? You're going to hit a ceiling in terms of the value that you're able to create as a man if you see everything as adversarial all the time.
We're out of time. I want to lob one quick talking point, if you guys could digest the fact that Andrew Tate actually produces pornography, because it sounds like you're against porn or you see it as a negative, but his career started through the production of it.
Unfortunately, I don't agree with that at all. Just like a lot of men over time who have got their start doing
Bad things?
terrible things.
Oh my
It seems
God.
like also that's where he got his start and got his money from. So I don't agree with that at all. But just like as we know as men are always going to suffer. Men are always going to fall down. Men are always going to hit their head. And what
He
are they going
rapes, but
to
he
do? Men will
saves.
bounce back and come back and start doing other things that do benefit society. Men have always done that. Agree?
Ah, he's doing the thing. This is the thing. This is the thing. The most brain-breaking thing is my guy can do no wrong because he has no agency. Your guy, everything he does is horrible and terrible because he has maximum agency. It's like so cringe. I didn't know that Andrew Tate was such a fucking brokey that he still has to do porn. He has to produce porn. My bad. I didn't know that, my dude.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Can women do that?
Of
No.
course.
So
Of
a woman with a high body count can bounce back and change?
Of course you can. So a woman also has that ability to do that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we got pause there. Thank you. We've run out of time.
I can't believe he said yes.
All right,
Equal
Mark, great
rights.
job. We have finished your prompts, but for this final section, I want you to look around the circle and select
the
somebody
last guy
to
back
come to the
on.
center and debate you for 10 minutes based on their claim.
Oh, he's gonna pick the most
Who's this guy?
retarded.
I forgot your name.
Uh-oh.
We were like, it was really getting
Oh,
good,
God
and
damn
then you got
it.
voted off.
My name is Will.
Nice to meet you.
My surrounding claim is that women care more about looks than personality.
What makes you say that?
That's retarded.
All these things that you've been talking about, that you need to be authentic with your partner, your girlfriend, or whatever the date you're on. Like when you're on a first date, for example, and let's
Yeah.
say you're on a first date with like a really pretty girl.
Yeah.
If she pays you a compliment or she says, genuinely, if she says anything, you already know it's
You're
coming
in.
from a place of authenticity because this girl probably has like 10 dates this week. And she has lots on her plate. She's thinking about a lot of things. So she doesn't really have the energy or to put on like a facade. And I think that most people can sense that. And from what you're saying, women can really sense that if a guy is saying, here's the flowers, here's the reservation, or whatever it is, and they feel like it's a transactional thing. Because for a lot of guys, it is. Like, most guys are not going on a date every single day. They're going on like one date a month with a girl they actually like. They don't have options. And so that they when they're actually there, they're so stressed and they need things to go perfectly that they behave strangely. And I think that women can perceive that. So what you're describing is you need to be this authentic guy that if a girl blows you off, you say, hey, no worries. That guy is a guy with a lot of options. And the guy with a lot of options is usually just a really handsome guy. I mean, that's what it is.
What would you say about examples of
ugly guys,
ugly dudes with smoking hot girls?
It's such an interesting question. I mean, so now you're
what
getting
about
into
me and
SMB, like
Steve?
sexual market value stuff. So I believe that, I mean, obviously everyone has seen someone with status, there's famous actors with beautiful wives, or someone who's really rich. Every girl wants to go on the yacht party, and then, you see the guy that owns the yacht, he's not so handsome.
Not the
So
yacht
I would
parties.
say that between these three things, your looks, how wealthy you are, what your status is, whether you're well known, like within the balance of those three traits, you'll get to a certain point where you're acceptable to.
Would you add personality and values to that list, to your sexual marketplace value, right? Because people generally want to date people who share values, who they have good chemistry with, that they enjoy talking to, right?
Yeah, no, I think that having shared values is important for a really long-term relationship. But I think that the reality. How old are you, by the way?
42.
42. Honestly, I wish that I was born.
That's a
when
good
you were born.
42.
Because I think when we're talking about long-term relationships nowadays, where the women that people in my age group are dating, they've
Born in
they've been
the
on
wrong
dating apps, they've been
generation.
on Instagram like their whole life.
Right.
So
the run through.
They've been inundated with interest from men, like truly inundated. Like every single day, hundreds of men are requesting to have a date with them,
Thousands.
or literally just like jump into bed with
Why
them
is
right
this
away.
guy a red
And I think
pillar?
that's created this really
Which guy?
This guy right here.
What do you mean?
Oh, when I think about red pillars, I think about fucking ugly losers who can't literally talk to women at all. But maybe
are
I just have
incels.
like the wrong. So red pillars just think like you have to be an asshole to women to like get them.
Red pills have a lot of crazy beliefs. I don't know.
Okay.
If I could necessarily generalize it, but yeah, there could also be attractive guys that sometimes people don't One of the things that's difficult is sometimes people can be successful at a thing and not understand why they're successful at it, which can lead to some bad advice being given. Like, I don't know if he's aware of this because I haven't heard him speak on it. I can just tell you as a knower of women that 1,000,000,000% the reason why that Clav guy, it wouldn't surprise me if he slays pretty hard, but it helps so much that he looks attractive and all of that, and that definitely helps. But he has such a soft boy voice and demeanor, and he sounds kind of quiet and reserved. Well, yeah, but he's also he has soft boy riz, 1,000,000,000,000%. And for a guy that looks like that and everything, to have that, yeah, I kind of I talk about it's kind of like a little 1,000,000,000,000%. Probably helps that dude.
Sakuno riz,
Yeah, unironically, yeah. It was definitely like that with like Zerka as well. Like the Zerka dude was just so good at turning on the charm when he needed to. But people probably look at him as, oh, just because you're hardcore fucking masculine all the time or whatever. But it's the other side, the contrast
It's
that
the
sells
personality
it.
traits, honestly.
Yeah, but the contrast sells it. It helps a lot.
sense of reality.
Oh, but if you would ask Clav, he might just say, oh, girls like because I look max or some shit. Yeah.
Got it.
Them or literally just jump into bed with them right away. And I think that that's created this really warped sense of reality for a lot of women. And I think it's starting to, I think it's just starting to affect men really deeply.
I think we agree on some of this, but not others. Looks absolutely matter. Anybody who tells you otherwise is
crazy.
Is probably fucking selling you something. So it looks absolutely matter. They matter most in the early phases, right? They get you the attention. They get you that first date. They get you probably a little bit more leeway on that. If you say something stupid or you mess up or whatever, you're probably going to get more slack if you're a really good looking guy than if you're not. And you might even be right. I will concede that in this day and age, right, where everything's driven through apps and Instagram and everything, appearance is probably
it's amplified.
It's at the most premium that it's ever been.
Yeah.
That said, I think once you get past that first date or that first impression, and especially once you get in the real world, when you actually get to meeting women face to face.
I would say I'm curious to hear this guy's experience though, because when you get people that look even half of what this guy looks like, and they're telling you that something is fucked up with women and you're not attracted, there is a severe personality deficit at this point, because this guy is easily a top 1 or 2% attractive
1%er,
guy.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
The face. At a
He
party,
must have the
at a friend's house,
personality of
whatever.
a fucking demon.
I don't know.
Value of looks proportionally, the personality comes down. And I think once you get in, say a month into the relationship, it's almost not a factor anymore. It's almost all personality.
I just couldn't disagree more, because I think a lot of the relationships I've seen of my peers that have made it, it's usually been, they've been together for 10 plus years, and both of them they've kind of let go of all of the facade and the vain things you're describing.
Sure.
Maybe they don't go to the gym every day like they used to, or they stop caring that much about eating healthy. And I think the ones that have made it, I'm saying the man and the woman have kind of both let go of these things progressively, and they've descended, is what they say.
Okay.
And so
they're
I think in
stomach line descended is what's
yeah,
happening.
and I think maybe part of that is because they've both internally really committed, like, this is the relationship I'm going to be in the rest of my life. Why would I do all this BS?
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of times it's not so simple.
No, that's absolutely not true. And a huge issue is if you get together with somebody and they start making significant lifestyle changes and they don't care about their health anymore, they don't take care of any of that, that can be a huge relationship ender. But
simple like that. You might only be 4 or 5 years into a relationship and you're like,
what? Hold on. What are you stalking the living? Roll the clip for the editors when you play it. Roll the clip of Hassan talking about, oh, I would be nothing without DGG. I would be nothing without these guys. How do you not know? This is like the most famous fucking Hassan Loves Destiny compilation video. What are you talking about? How do you not know?
Go find the clip.
10 minutes.
That's what you do.
Surely you've seen this before. What?
You edit.
New editor time. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
This feels really good, but sometimes I'm not sure. And I think that if both partners, at the end of the day, they feel like, this person I'm dating isn't just valuable to me, they could be valuable to other people as well. It discourages people from just kind of throwing things away or deciding that their life is better off in a different direction or whatever it might be.
If I can just tell you my experience, I've been with my wife for 14 years. My girlfriend before that I was with for about 3.5 years. Something funny happens. When you're in a loving relationship that is very happy,
whatever it might be.
If I can just tell you my experience, I've been with my wife for 14 years. My girlfriend before that I was with for about 3.5 years. Something funny happens. When you're in a loving relationship that is very happy, you stop seeing each other objectively. It's actually really weird. Like, because this person matters so much to you, even if they're gaining weight, even if they've let themselves slip a little bit, even if they, I don't know, are dealing with some sort of like sickness or condition or whatever, like, you don't see it. It's like your perception warps around them, and the same happens to you. Looks really only come back into play if you're unhappy, right? Because then that's when you start asking yourself, why am I still here? Why am I putting up with this? Oh yeah, she's not as hot as she used to be. I just realized that. Like, it's
a lot of married guys.
He's right to a point.
Yeah,
though,
yeah. He is absolutely right to a point. He's absolutely right to a point. When you're in a relationship, your girl doesn't have to like fucking do all her makeup and hair and blah 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 for you to see her as beautiful. And she could be like sick and cute or whatever, or she can like gain like 5-10 pounds or whatever. It's like, oh, cute. But it's not like if you dated somebody, you guys both had a super active lifestyle, and she gains like 80 pounds, or the guy,
There's a job of the hut.
Yeah, and the guy stops giving a fuck. Like, it's like this is not going to work. This is always going to be the end of your relationship, or it's going to lead to huge problems.
Also talk about how the attractiveness can ebb and flow, and it can come back in funny ways after a long time, like you've been with your wife.
Dude, so much of attraction, physical attraction, like our perception of what is attractive is driven by our emotions.
But if I can interrupt you, like, frankly, I mean, you're like a media personality. Like, you're kind of look smaxed right now for your age group. Like,
thank you.
Frankly, I mean, you don't seem like you haven't. I mean, you're like in good shape.
Thanks, man.
So then you would say that once you're to a certain level of intimacy and connection, that everything physical kind of just goes out the door.
I wouldn't say everything, but I would say it becomes deprioritized a lot.
I think we're getting a little. I think that my bigger message, just for like young men that are in the early stages, because I mean, look, everyone would love to have a happy marriage and be on year 14, but I think that like most of these guys who are kind of in the red pill community, they want to talk about game and all this stuff. Like, you need to be, rude to a woman to get her to like you.
Yeah, like, again, it's not that looks don't matter. It's just that I think what I see, right, and I'm not really in this industry anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I used to, all my work was around like helping guys meet girls and get laid and find a girlfriend and all that.
You got guys laid?
Yeah.
like a lot of them?
Yeah. I used to take guys out to bars and like.
You would wing them?
It's like, can you help me?
Professional
Isn't it so weird how just having another dude with you, like, I think it increases your chance by like 1,000%.
It's ridiculous. It's social proof. But it's what I see with your generation. Because so much of this has moved online, it's moved into the digital sphere. So much of how people talk about and understand dating has become digitized. It's just photos and numbers on a screen. And so what I see is guys over-indexing on stuff like this, right? It's like the looks maxing thing. I totally get it, man. Like, you should be as good looking as you can possibly be. Like, that is just fucking logical, right? It's going to help in every area of life, not just with women.
How could it be controversial?
Yeah, it's self-improvement. But like, what I worry about is like just only focusing on that to the disregard of everything else. Because ultimately, like, over the long term, what matters is how are you showing up? How do you feel about yourself? Do you communicate well? Are you respectful? Can you like call somebody out on their bullshit, right? Like, that's the stuff that matters.
All right, I'm sorry, I got to stop you there. We're out of time.
Wow. Sorry. No talks here.
Good again.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Mark. Let's give Mark a round of applause.
Round of applause, Mark.
If you think that Will mobbed everybody in this room, let us know in the comments. Tune in Wednesday for a follow-up to this episode. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Wednesday is a
I
follow-up.
thought the Manosphere guys were really interesting today. There was more of a diversity of perspectives than I was expecting. I was also surprised how many things I ended up agreeing with some of them on.
You can be a victim without having a victim mentality. And I think the Manosphere is really important at preaching both of those ideas simultaneously. That feminism is a problem and that it is causing substantial damage to young men. But also that as a man, you got to be tough. You got to be strong. You got to go to the gym and talk to that girl anyway and go make money anyway.
I honestly think that this was such a cringe fest, frankly. I'm silently freaking out. I really don't want to be associated with most of the things that were said. It's so hard because a lot of these guys, I want to support them, but they're just so radioactive.
I think the Manosphere sometimes
Jesus, okay, hold on.
bad flack But I think the overall message most of the time is trying to actually help and build up the structure of a man. Men.
Was that guy just an
especially young
imposter
kids
then?
need
Wait, what?
coaches. They need leaders.
I see why the
that'd
manosphere
be
exists
sick
because there's
if
just
they
a
added
vacuum of
imposters.
leadership and role models for young men today. I understand where these guys come from and I understand why they feel the way they do, but I just think the manosphere is not the best answer to these problems.
Holy shit, imagine if they did like find the person who isn't in the manosphere. Do they do that on Jubilee?
No.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.